My name is Derek George. I represent member advocacy at St. Stephen's. I could follow along the same lines as our first speaker, but I want to talk about the things that have been coming from City Hall. Some positive, but when I think about the homeless crisis, I think about myself and the time I spent on the streets. And now that I'm housed, it's difficult to relate how my life has to change. And I hear a lot about, affordable housing. Affordable housing is a great idea for people who function normally in society. But the homeless, most of them don't function normally in society. So putting them in an environment where they're not comfortable just leads them right back to homelessness. I'm facing eviction simply because I have problems that my neighbors don't want to deal with. I am now so far removed from the help that I need, not necessarily on a daily basis, but I have to travel an hour to get downtown to the drop-in center. In my neighborhood, yes, there are centers, but they don't provide the particular type of needs that I would have, and it's difficult. It's going on 2 years, and it is getting worse. I just lost my dad. I had no way of getting downtown and sitting down with a counselor and having that issue somehow dealt with. So, I feel isolated, I feel alone. And that's one of the reasons, not just affordable housing, but housing geared to the needs of the homeless, especially the chronically homeless. They have needs that regular folks don't understand even, don't want to understand mostly, So it's fine to say, yeah, we have blanket solutions that'll cover this, that'll cover that. But when we are looking at homelessness and poverty, it's not just blanket solutions. And that's what I've been saying every time I come here. We have to look at how, it was nice to read that the provincial government got involved in providing funds for developing, and that's the key for me. Forget about the systems that are in place. Yes, there's a shelter system, but it's always overcrowded. In the wintertime, yes, there's out of the cold and there's the warming centers, but they're always crowded. And when you put people in crowded situations, there's going to be problems. Sometimes, problems that call for police. And I don't think policing is the real issue. I think the issue is developing new systems to deal with these issues. Harm reduction is a big plus for me. If I don't have harm reduction in place, my life will turn into chaos quickly. And I don't want that to happen. And that's why I'm grateful that I could go to St. Stephen's when I really feel a need to. And I could sit down with a counselor and tell them what's going on, So, yeah, when we think about this problem, we have to look at more permanent solutions, like developing a housing system where there is infrastructure for people like me, so I don't end up in, market rent housing. I don't want to say, okay, build something where you put a whole bunch of people who have similar problems in there, because that'll create even more problems, because those people are not going to get along. But if it's geared to where people can live comfortably without having outside issues heaped upon them, like I woke up this morning, couldn't find my wallet, and I know it's always in my back pocket. I had a beautiful sign on the inside of my door that offended somebody, and the sign disappeared. I know if I say to the landlord, I'm going to change the locks, I'm going to get resistance. I'm not allowed. But how am I going to feel safe when I recognize that I'm not safe? You know, and that's what I'm talking about. Most homeless stay homeless to feel safe better, believe it or not.
If you could wrap up, you're a little over 5 minutes.
And that's where I want to end it. I would like to feel as safe as the next guy, you know, and the homeless, they feel safe on the street, safer, believe it or not. And if they had an environment where they could be safe, I can't guarantee that their life would be better, but it would be easier. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Questions for the deputant?
Always forget about that part. Yes.
Well, I have one. You seem to be saying that housing is one thing, supportive housing is quite another. In other words, unless you have housing with support services, wraparound services, substance abuse, mental health, other similar support services, we're really spinning our wheels.
I'm not saying it has to be built into the housing itself, but it has to be readily available. For example, if where these things are built, there are community centers where if someone wants to go there and cook a meal, like we have down here, or a center where they can just go and have a meal, you know, where there's support. There's some buildings right here in Toronto where the elderly and the handicapped have all the support they need right in the building, which is great because it allows them to be safer. And similarly, the chronically homeless have similar needs. So having them in there as well, you know, there are many ways of looking at how to do it. What we have to do is do it, right? And I mean, it's sooner than later because the deaths that occur on the street, I think, are preventable. You know, and I've lost another 12, 15 friends over the last 6 months. And I'm getting, I don't know how to grieve most of the time for these friends that I lose, you know, and that's a big issue for me. And like I say, having a place like St. Stephen's to go to, you know, just to talk about it, you know, when your friend who you've known for 30 years overdoses and you know he doesn't do that much drugs, you know, it's a problem, you know. And I think we can solve this problem. I really believe we have what it takes to make this problem go away.
Okay, thank you very much.